August 19th, 2024, in order and have a roll call.
Want me to push Bob?
Yeah, yep, I'll push it.
Huh?
So we're missing,
Fran's not going to be here. Marv isn't here yet. He didn't say anything, but. And Jim's not here. Okay. So we've got what, 25 present, 3 abs. Yeah. 25 present, 3 absent, and 1 vacant for the little bit of time here. Okay, public notification.
Wendy Coleman, my executive assistant, has complied with Wisconsin open meeting requirements. Meeting agendas have been posted on electronic meeting notice boards located on the first and second floor of the Government Center and on the first floor of the Justice Center. A hard copy of the meeting agenda has been posted in the county clerk's office. She's verified the proper posting of this meeting. The Barron County Board of Supervisors scheduled for August 19th at 7 p.m. and this agenda and all attachments were posted on August 14th at 10:13 a.m.
Okay, item number 3, the invocation. And our pastor is not here, so you're stuck with me. It's going to be short and sweet. Thank you, dear God, that we can all be here and run this county with the wisdom that they've been exhibiting for the last several years. And I hope we continue that. And God help us in all our future adventures and things we're going to do. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I'm just going to take a little detour here. We're not going to do 4 yet because we'll go to number 5 on the agenda. And what I'm going to do is take 4, and that'll become 6A because we need some time to swear Jamie McCready in. So right now we're on item number 5, and 4, which is the special matters, we'll go to 6A, and we're pulling number 12. I believe Jeff sent out an email to all county board members explaining why. And just in addition to what he said, I'm on the WCA resolutions committee. That's where all the counties submit their resolutions and we go over them. We either say postpone indefinitely, adopt it, or refer to the board of directors. This particular item, if you remember, we had somebody from Cumberland explain why we should be in favor of this. I believe, it was Price County that had resolution to our WCA Resolutions Committee that was identical to ours. And when you look at it, listen to what this person from Cumberland said and what the resolution says, you would think and takes common sense that, hey, you're going to pass that because we want to lower the definition of rural. Well, that's not the case. Two of the guys that were on the committee spoke up and said, we've got to refer this to the board of directors. It's got to be vetted more. And as you saw in Jeff's memo, what's happening is you change that rural definition and the small rural ones can lose money, especially on the highway department. So what's going to happen, we don't want to do anything now in Barron County. Let the board of directors of the Wisconsin Counties Association vet this thing and see where it goes. So that's why 12 is getting pulled and 4 to 6A is just for a little extra time. So is there any concerns about that change in the agenda? Okay, then we got a motion by Supervisor Olson, seconded by Supervisor Guslick to approve that amended agenda. Any concerns? If not, let's vote. That passed, 28 yes and 3 absent. Okay, on to item number 6, appointment and oath of office for Jamie McCready from District 8. Jess, are you going to handle that? Okay. Can we get a motion that I confirm my appointment of Jamie McCready to District 8? Motion by Supervisor Gooselich, seconded by Supervisor Turcott. Is there any concerns with that proposed appointment? Seeing none, let's vote. That passed 25 yes and 3 absent. Congratulations, Jamie. Jess will perform an oath of office, or you want her to come up to you?
Yep.
Okay.
Who's the vacancy?
All right, I'm going to have you raise your right hand. I, Jamie McCready,
I, Jamie McCready,
having been appointed to the County Board Supervisor in District Number 8,
having been appointed to the Barron County Board of
Supervisor,
Supervisors for
District 8.
District 8,
and for the said County of Barron,
and for the said County of Barron,
in said state,
in said state,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution
do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of the Office of District Supervisor
and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of District Supervisor
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Congratulations. I'm ready to get to talk. Sorry.
She's representing Turtle Lake.
Oh, thank you.
You're going to set her up?
So Jeff, you can do your special matters now.
Okay, now we're on to item, which was number 4, is now 6A, the special matters, and Jeff will handle it.
I just have 2 things for the board. If you weren't aware, I did send this out, that Rice Lake will now be an official trail community for the Ice Age Trail, and that ceremony is going to be held on Wednesday, the 28th, at Veterans Memorial Park from 5 to 6:30. I just wanted you aware in case anybody wanted to attend that. And then you see the proclamation by Chair Oki for C-Tracks, Think Train. This will be sent out to Canadian National. They always ask us to do this because Canadian National does run through Barron. It's through Wisconsin Central Limited, but it's a Canadian line out here. So that's all I have for special matters and announcements. Thank you. We're just going to have to be patient
Yeah,
here
we'll
for
have
a
a
few
little
minutes.
time
Little
delay here.
time.
We just need to make sure that he can log her in on her
Yep.
end. She's in on my end now.
Bathroom break or coffee or cookies or whatever you want to do here.
Hey, did you bring cookies, Jeff?
Yeah, okay, where are they, Jeff?
It was your turn, Jess.
Oh, previous clerk always
So
had.
Marv showed up, do you see that?
Yep. He is signed in and good to go. I don't know. It's the stress.
Did you sign that proclamation yet?
This one? Yeah. When I wrote on
All right, we should be good to go, Louis.
it? Okay,
Hang on just a second, he's got to sign the proclamation. Sign it and date it.
it's stated, this day, it says it
Oh,
held.
thank you.
If you wanted me to do another one, get rid of this.
No, well, this is going to have to suffice.
Okay,
I'll get it back to you tomorrow.
okay.
Yep, I see her.
We're all good?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're on to item number 7, approve the minutes of July 22nd, 2024. Motion by Supervisor Cook, seconded by Supervisor Heller. Does anybody have any concerns with the minutes? Seeing none, let's vote. $27 yes and 2 absent. Oh, that's okay. All right, so that passed. Item number 8, public comment. We did not have any. Number 9, update on a transitional housing project on County Highway TT 10 Trellegrass with our Salvation Army. Ken, would you like to come up to that podium in the middle there, and somebody will show you what button to push there so that little green light comes on?
Big B.
About that one. There you go.
Yep, sounds good, Ken.
Well, good evening. I won't take up a lot of your time, but got some information I'd like to share with you. My name's Ken Tregellis. I am with the Salvation Army, and I'm up from Wauwatosa. That's home for me, up to see you guys this evening. I'm the Service Extension Director. With some of the conversation, I was going to say my job is to look after rural Wisconsin. I don't know if I'm going to use the word rural, but my job is all of rural Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And to help the Salvation Army provide services, we are located in every single county in the state of Wisconsin and in the UP. So we have a presence of some sort in every single county. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I wanted to come up and share some information with you on the project here in your community. We've been working with your county board and architect, and we have secured CDBG monies along with private donations, with grant donations, and our own Salvation Army funds to purchase and renovate the buildings that are located on Highway TT just outside of town here. Our project began back just prior to COVID. As you know, the pandemic has had an effect on everything, and in our lives, and also this project was no different. Some of the effects it had on us put a halt on working at the site during the heavy time of COVID, the availability of materials that we needed to do it, the shipping and the timing and all those sorts of things that we're still seeing every day. And the price doubled in that time. I'm sure that's not shocking either. We have gone ahead and we have secured and we're ready to do the project. So we feel good about the funding and everything to go forward. There's 2 buildings on the property. One of them, a larger building, is a former nursing home, and there's also a house on the property. We've been able to move forward and near completion with the house. So we're finishing up some details on some concrete slabs, a little bit of electrical work and sewer work. And we estimate to have this done in the next couple of months to gain occupancy and to begin sheltering people on the site. So that's great news. Wanted to make sure you knew that. The house will eventually be used, as in the original plans, to house families with children. So the house that's finished right now has 3 full bedrooms, big, large bedrooms that could house up to 4 individuals in a family per room. It has 3 separate bathrooms that are all built with tubs and everything for children and for families to use, and is in a beautiful shape. We estimate, again, to have all that work done here shortly. It is completely handicap accessible. It has a shared kitchen and a shared living space for the families, and will also be, this is very important, staffed 24 hours a day. It will have a staff person on site 24 hours a day from the Salvation Army. But for now, the greater needs are individuals when it comes to shelter. So we will provide shelter for up to 12 individuals per night in the house. And we're working together with the Benjamin House in Rice Lake. And they're going to handle families until we get the other part of the site done. And we're going to handle individuals. And we'll change that once the entire scope of the project is done. The larger facility was also originally planned for renovations. But as we began to work in there, our contractors uncovered some issues. some environmental hazards, asbestos, in ceilings, in flooring, in walls, structural damage in the walls and ceilings, and they started peeling things back, and there were also water issues around the foundation. I want to let you know, first of all, that the remediation work was completed immediately. So there's nothing on the site at this point that's of environmental concern. We took care of that right away and made sure that it was a safe place to be. At that point, we made the decision to not try and renovate a building that a few years down the road wouldn't be worth the ground it was sitting on. And we would be presenting more problems to us and what we're looking to do in this community than it was worth. So with the recommendation of professionals, we've made the decision to raise that old nursing home building and build something that'll still accomplish our goals and be a solid investment here for the future. We have a signed contract for demolition to begin here in the very near future. And we were waiting on final environmental studies just to clear that way. But I was talking to Mr. Oki a few minutes ago, and it looks like the documentation came in. So we'll be ready to start to level that building here in the very, very near future. We've been given until December of 2025 to complete the project, to have this entire project completed, and we're now focusing on that part of the project as we finish up on the little house. This will involve rebidding per CDBG guidelines on what this new building is going to look like and who's going to do that. We will be sure to meet the scope of the project. We promise that we will be providing 32 beds for homeless people at this facility, and we will make sure that happens. We're looking to introduce, you'll see it later on your agenda, an oversight committee into the process, including the county, the Salvation Army, and the architect, that will meet every couple of weeks going forward here to stay on top of things and to help drive this project to completion. In closing, I want to say this. With the delays, the findings uncovered in the large building, COVID, et cetera, they're all excuses but facts. One thing hasn't changed, and that's the need for this. Since we purchased that property just a few years ago, the Salvation Army has had 109 clients that we have grant funded into shelters in surrounding areas. We have provided over 4,670 bed nights, whether it be in motels or surrounding areas, or sending them to our other shelters and other areas just in that time. It's been 171 households that has come to us in that same time period. Really cool news. There's 8 entire families that have their own homes that we've taken through from being a shelter client all the way to having their own apartment or their own house in some cases. And we have other housing programs that we get them from shelter into becoming respectable tenants with other landlords, and we're able to help them pay their rents. The members we have worked with, I want to say this from the county here, have been extremely cooperative and supportive of us. They've also held us accountable, and that's really why I'm here tonight. I wanted to share with you, and I personally thank them for that. Our mission, the Salvation Army as an organization, is to meet human needs in the name of Jesus without discrimination. So that means we don't care who you worship, what you look like, what you claim to be, who you claim to be. If you need help, we're here to help. And we're looking forward to continue serving your community on a daily basis as we keep this project moving forward. So that's my update. I want to say thank you for giving me a few minutes here tonight to share with you.
Does anybody have any questions for Ken? Supervisor Olson?
There we go. You mentioned there's room for 12 people in the house and then a total of 36. Does the 36 include the 12 or is it that in
Yes.
addition? Okay, thank you.
Yes, that will, it's 32. It's 32 is the number, and that would include the house and the other building. So the other building needs to house 20 is
Sup-
the idea.
Supervisor Mosentein?
Thank you.
Supervisor Schradel?
Forgot about. Okay, good thing I got an aide here. Yeah. Is that 32 going to be enough to service this area, do you think, or?
Well, here's the big thing. Somebody would say, well, if you were able to help all those people without the shelter, why do you need the shelter? The big part of going from homeless to home is the casework and the help along the way. So right now, we're sending caseworkers all over the place to different counties, to different motels, to different, so you put somebody up and you say, hey, we're gonna come see you at 1 o'clock. It's amazing how often they're not there at 1 o'clock because I really just wanted a couple nights in a motel. What this allows us to do is the people that we have right on our site and with 24-hour staff and caseworkers right there is you're on our clock and you're on our schedule. When we want to help you and when you're right there, we can do that. So if it's more than 32, we can still use motels and other places, but the ones that are going to need the concentration and really want to make the change, we'll have right there with us and can help them walk through the process.
So you have the options available then?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I want to say the Salvation Army has been nothing but exemplary. There's some challenges we've gone through, and they've stepped up to the plate every time. So, Ken, I'd like to thank you for what you've done and what you are going to do. So, thank you.
My pleasure. Good to be with you. Thank you.
Okay, item number 10, the presentation of the 2024 health insurance utilization by Tim Deaton with the Horton Group. Hey, Tim.
Good evening. Tim Deaton with the Horton Group. I've been here the last couple of years to go through the plan performance. For our agenda this evening, put a packet together. It was in the agenda and the packet material. We're going to go over a policy overview, what's coming up for renewal in January 2025. We're going to look at the 2023 medical loss report. We're going to look at the 2024 year-to-date medical loss report with claims through July. So I'll give you an idea of how our health plan performed last year and how we're performing through July claims of 2024. I do have a preliminary renewal projection for us to review. And then we've got some programs that we've put in place over the years, RX and Go, OptiMed and HealthJoy, and have some savings analysis there. And then kind of a renewal timeline, just kind of what happens next and where we go from here. So if there's questions, please don't hesitate to interrupt. This is meant to be informative and to bring you all up to speed on how the health plan's performing and areas at least where I think that there, are positives and then some, areas that are concerns to me as we go forward. Okay. Next slide. I don't know who's working the slides there. One more. There you go. So the policies that we have up for renewal in 2025 are all listed here. We have our group medical, which includes the stop-loss insurance through Voya. We've got the organ transplant through HCC Life. We've got our third-party administrator, the medical, with PBA and then Anthem. Our pharmacy benefit manager, so that does the RX on our health plan, Carelon RX. And then we've got our prescription drug programs that are, for generic and then for specialty. We have OptiMed on the specialty and then RX and Go on the generic, and those are all up for review. The next policy is our dental. We have a high and a low plan, voluntary in nature, meaning that the employees pay the entire premium. We have our wellness with CHC, renewing on 10/1, and then our care navigation with HealthJoy renews in January. So kind of a busy list there, but most of it is in the group medical space, and that's how I'm going to focus my attention this evening. Next slide. Boy, I couldn't make this any smaller. Apologize for that. So hopefully you can look at it in the packet. But this is a one-page report that we review with Rachel and Jeff on a monthly basis. It's kind of our ledger. You think of it as a checking account. So I'm going to walk you through it and give you the plan kind of layout. So I'll got my little, I got to turn it on first. There we go. Oh, it's not?
Nope, nothing's in the packet.
No, we did not put some of this in the packet.
Oh, okay.
It got late, yep.
Yeah, we had, boy, it was kind of I got Jeff a packet, and then we had a lot of updates with some of our renewals, and then some more reporting came in. This time of the month, we're getting a lot of the reporting, so I wanted to get as much information up to date as possible. But what you're looking at here is our 2023 plan year. So on top, and I'll point, we're going to go through the top portion. So here and then over here, we're going to go from left to right. So on the upper left hand, we're going to have the report parameters. So our medical administrator, like I said before, is Anthem Network, and then we have PBA as our third-party administrator. Prescription drug administrator is Carelon RX. Our reinsurance or stop-loss carrier is Voya. Our specific stop-loss, our retained risk on every member in the health plan is $50,000. And then the stop loss contract is at $12.18. So what that means is that we have claims incurred from January through December, and if they get paid before the end of June, we get reimbursed that. So we have a 6-month run out on the stop loss, which gives us a mature contract. And if any claim is maybe running a little later, comes in after, the renewal time period, we have until the end of June to get that paid, which has been really a good provision for the county, because we have had significant claims that we've had reimbursed and garnered those reimbursements, into the next policy period. So it's definitely a plus. In the next box is going to be the fixed fees to the right there. That's going to be the Anthem administration fee. On top, we have the PBA administration fee. We've got stop loss for employee and then family. And then we have what we call aggregate insurance. So that's an umbrella policy that sits over top of the self-funded health plan. So it's kind of a worst case scenario. So if everyone kind of goes to the doctor and we have a real run on claims, we've got a limit as to what we can spend on the health plan. And that's usually set at 125% of what they would consider expected claims. Below that, we have the transplant policy. We put a transplant policy in place. It basically is a fully insured policy that takes the risk away from the health plan. So if we have a bone marrow transplant or a heart transplant or a lung transplant, that's first dollar coverage. So we pay a premium for that. Voya, the stop loss carrier, will give us credit for putting that in place. It won't be dollar for dollar, but it's pretty close. I think the policy probably is about a 10%. It's probably a 10% cost on our stop loss, but we get 8% discount off of the plan. So it's about a 2% differential that we're paying. So definitely a good deal. It's kind of sleep at night insurance, I call it. Transplants, are not very common, but when they do happen, they're very expensive and can kind of, throw a little wrench into the budget. Okay? In the middle, get my little pointer here. So we're going to go across the middle here. And then we're going to go across from left to right over here, okay? So we're looking at 2023. On the left-hand side, we have each of the months, okay? So then next to that is going to be our fixed fees. So based upon the enrollment, we have the medical administration on a monthly basis, the stop-loss premiums, and the transplant premiums. So those are our fixed cost. And our fixed costs total about 2.1 million, okay? So that would be our floor. That's going to be the minimum, that we would spend if we didn't have any claims. Next to that is going to be the variable cost. And these are, fluctuating month to month. So these are going to be your medical paid claims, your prescription drug claims. We have our OptiMed RX program there, our RX and Go monthly cost, which is our generics. And then in red, those are our stop-loss reimbursements. So those are what we received, during the 12-month period. So I've got a couple of slides here. We can illustrate it a couple different ways, but this is basically when those reimbursements were received. Okay,
Tim,
so-
just excuse me just a minute. Jeff did just send an email to all the county board members on your phone or your iPad or whatever. If you want to follow on that, he just sent this whole packet of information to you.
Thank you, Jeff. Next to that is pharmacy rebates. So that middle part varies, right? It goes on claims, it goes on reimbursements, and then if we get pharmacy rebates, we add that in. So we total that up at the end. We add fixed and variable to get total plan cost. We list the enrollments, which obviously would, bump up against the fixed premiums and the enrollments. And then we bump that up against the funding rates. There you go, thank you. The funding rates are up here in the corner on a single and family. So this is kind of our budgeted number for those single and family. So that will give you the funding and the loss ratio. So you'll see the total monthly paid or total plan monthly funding. And then we bump that up against the total plan cost. And you're going to see, obviously if it's above 100, it's not favorable. If it's below 100, then, we're running below budget. As you can see, when we add in the reimbursements, and this is just when it was received, it didn't count the runout claims, we were at 99.5. So we were right on budget if we were looking at, when those claims were received. So about a $33,000 difference. I'm going to switch to the next page. And the only difference here is that we took all of the reimbursements through, July or June of this year and added them in to the 2023 loss report here. So you're going to see this number here, and I'll read it to you. It's 2.7 million. It's a big number, right? So those are all claims and reimbursements based on 2023, large claims. And that's over here on this side, right there. When we add that amount in, the loss ratio goes down to 81.2. So depending upon how the county looks at it, we show it both ways. Some folks will keep it in the plan that it shows up in, or the year, or they keep it all together for budgeting. But I wanted to at least illustrate it that we had a pretty good year without those claims. But when you add in, the run out claims, we definitely had a good budget year. Didn't have a very good stop loss year. I think last year we received a 6%, Jeff, on stop loss, which I was absolutely shocked. I think I was kind of predicting a 25. And I bet if Voya had to do it again, they probably would have gave us that 25. But they didn't. And, we stayed at that 50,000 because, there was really no reason to move up and take on more risk. So that's 2023. I'm going to move.
Tim, hence isn't that our item number 22 on our agenda when we go into closed session?
Yep, we're going to go into closed session.
That's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, we're going to talk about stop loss. So kind of laying the groundwork for that. The next page there, if I go to the next sheet, thank you. This is 2024 with claims through July. And this report here is, excuse me, is taking into account, is not taking into account the run-out claims. You can scroll down. I want to make sure actually I got it backwards here in mine. This one is taking into account those run-out claims being in the 2024 policy period. So that's why our loss ratio down here is 85.3. And that's taking into account all the reimbursements that were received in 2024. Now, if we go to the following page, this would reflect only those reimbursements that were claims with 2024. Okay, that's why you're going to see that number, at 114.1. 114.1. So we're running a little bit of a fever, but I think last year when I showed you this, I think we were, I would say 109, 110. I think when I was here in either June or August or July or August. We definitely, as we start to have people exceed that 50,000, we start getting reimbursements, and that makes your loss ratio look a little bit better. But it also, poses a problem with renewal on the stop loss, which we'll talk later on. Any questions on the reporting? I apologize for not having that in the packet, but like I said, we had so many updates Thursday and Friday. I wanted to make sure that we had everything kind of up to speed and brought you, to everything that we knew. All right, next slide, please. You can center that. Thank you very much. So when we go through the renewal process, we do a renewal projection and we do an actuarial formula, and we've got 12 steps that we go through to kind of set rates. We take 36 months of experience so that we're taking a large sample size. So you're going to see on the far left in the experience period, that's going to be the oldest. And then obviously the one on the far right is going to be the most recent 12 months. So I'm going to walk through each of the line items. So number one is group-specific claims. Those are gross medical and RX claims. Below that, we have stop-loss reimbursements. So we're going to take line 1 minus line 2, and that's going to give us line 3, claims with catastrophic removed. Line 4 is medical trend. Now, medical and RX trend, we have it at 9%. Medical's about 6. Pharmacy's a little higher at 11. So we kind of go in the middle there and go with 9%. And the reason we do that is that we need to take the claims from 3 years ago and the middle period and then, the most recent 12 months and kind of move them forward. Because claims obviously are going to trend higher just due to medical inflation and prescription inflation. So line 5 is line 3 times the medical trend. And then if we made any plan design adjustments, that would be line 6. We would adjust, that rate. Any improvements would be, +1, and then any decreases in rates or changes in rates and benefits would be below 1. So that stays the same. Line 5 turns into line 7. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to get, all this information and funnel it down to get to a per employee per month claim rate, which will then turn into a per employee per year claim rate. So we take line 7 divided by the number of employees in each month for the given 12-month period. So that's why you're seeing that big 3,052 number. And you can see we've actually added employees in the most recent experience period. So we divide line 7 by the month, employee months. That gives us line 9. And then in actuarial formulas, we weight it. So we weight the most recent period at 70, the middle period at 20, and then the oldest period at 10. So you're going to see that weighting on a per employee per month claim rate in line 11. And then we add those together to get a blended rate and combined projected per employee per month claim rate at that 1345. Everyone follow along? So we're going to take that 1345 and we're going to multiply it times 12. And we're going to go to the next slide. And that's going to give us that 16,146. That's what we're predicting for our claim on a per employee per year for 2025. Now we have administration and we've just estimated a 5% renewal. We should probably get that in the next couple of weeks here. We also had the network access discount share through Anthem on a per employee per year cost of $211 or $218. We have RX admin fees through Carelon at $30 or $34.17. The big number, and this is our actual renewal, it came in at 45.07. We have a no new laser contract and a not to exceed of 50%. We have that in our policy. So Voya can't put a laser on any of our individuals and they can't raise our rates more than 50%. Well, they bumped pretty close to it. They gave us a 45.07. We've got options. We'll talk about that in closed session, but this is where we sit today on the stop loss renewal. Transplant, estimating a 2% increase, so that comes in at that $220. And then we've got Amwin Gene Therapy. For those that were here last year, we've had this the last couple of years. Amwins is one of our broker partners that we deal with. Gene therapy drugs are really, really expensive drugs. They cost anywhere from $1 million to about $3 million. And they're life-saving, life-altering drugs, sometimes for infants with congenital birth defects. And it actually cures the disease, which is pretty amazing. But they're very expensive drugs. So we pay $57 per employee per year to take that risk and pull it out. And Amwins has a program where that is a pooled product, which we participate in. So if we ever have a claim for one of those large gene therapy claimants or drugs, that would be covered at 100%, and it wouldn't hit the plan. I've had 3 of those drugs with other clients of ours, and I think we had one that was an eye. It was $850,000 per eye, and then we had another individual with spinal atrophy, and it was a drug called Spinraza, and it cost, I think, $750,000, and then every year thereafter, it's like $450,000. Now they have a new drug called Zolgensma, which cures it. If the shot is given before age 2, that costs $2.5 million. They allow you to pay it in $500,000 increments. God bless them, right? Yeah.
Tim, I had a question here. When the packet that Jeff sent out to all our county board members has a different thing in that stop loss roll. It's got estimated plus 15% specific and 5% ag renewal.
Yeah. And when we were we didn't get the renewal, I think, so I updated this on Friday with the actual renewal. So I had kind of a range, kind of a low at 15, kind of a midpoint at 25, and then worst case scenario at 50. So I kind of knew we were probably trending higher than 25. So we got this, late, probably midday on Friday. So I was fast and furiously updating all the stuff. So that's the actual renewal. And when you add this up, so we're at gene therapy. So all in, we're projecting a total per employee per year based upon the stop loss with Voya's renewal at $28,228. Our projected expenses are at $7.5 million. Our budget is at 6.6 or 6.7. So right now, based upon this renewal, we're looking at about a 12.44. Any questions on that?
And that's leaving the 50,000?
That is leaving the 50,000. If no questions, we'll move to the next slide, please. This is just a savings report from RX and Go. It's a mail order prescription program that we put in place where employees, if they want to get their generic medications, will get it covered at no cost to them. And year to date, our savings is just south of 14,000. This time last year, we were at 3280. So we've got a 324% increase in utilization, which is great. So your members are fantastic. I mean, they always gravitate to the programs we put in place, and they're very engaged in their healthcare, which is fantastic because, you know, these programs are meant to help them not only save money, but, you know, have better service, and they really have gravitated toward that. It saves them money, and it also saves the county money, so it's kind of a win-win. So it's been very, very popular, and like I said, it will continue to kind of update this as we get monthly reports. So based upon 2023 and 2024, we're trending in the right direction with the RX and Go program. Next slide, please. OptiMed is another program that we put in place, and they will source specialty medications. Again, member will get the medication for free. Obviously, OptiMed will give the county a better deal than we can get in the open market. And the savings that we're seeing year to date on that program, I get my little pointer out here. Oh, there we go. We're at $41,403. Over here, $441,403. I think last year we were trending, I think we're on pace for what we had last year. I think our savings was, you know, 87,000 for that program. And that's been very successful as well. And I think one of the things that we're going to do is I did request an RX extract from Carillon, and we're going to just kind of do a look-see to see if there's any folks that we can kind of, if there's anyone that would qualify, and do just an education piece during our open enrollment meetings. Next slide, please. HealthJoy is an application that we have that we put in, I don't know, probably 3-4 years ago, Rachel? Yeah, 3 years ago. I think it's a member advocacy program, but it also has an application on it on your phone. So it has your benefit wallets, and all of your benefits are there with all the customer service numbers and, you know, all the ways to look up providers. Horton Group has this program, and I use it religiously. It also has a built-in telemedicine app. And we've also included their virtual musculoskeletal program. It has been widely successful. I mean, you are my poster child for this program. Your activation percentage is 98%. I mean, that's like top tier. I guarantee you Horton doesn't have 98% of the employees, you know, activating it. But you guys, like I said, it's great. And you have a high deductible health plan. And there are tools that they have where they can actually help you find care at a lower cost. If you're taking a medication, they can help you find it at a cheaper, you pay less if you go to a certain pharmacy. They also will do bill review, and then they'll, you know, again, include the telemedicine and the virtual physical therapy, which has been very successful. So our return on investment is 7.2 times what we pay. We pay, I'd say, almost $17,000 a year, and we're saving $120,000, which has been great. Like I said, we got out of the 265 eligible employees at the time of this report, 259 have activated their accounts, which is great. We've had 1,200 unique actions. Think about that. That's amazing. And then member satisfaction's 100%. I think one of the things that has that built-in care, we use it at my house. It took me about 3 years to get my wife and daughter to use it. They love the urgent care, but you can speak with, you know, a provider, and then they can prescribe medication. And it's not for, heart attacks and emergencies, but if you're having sinus infection, or if you got a screaming kid in the middle of the night, or maybe, you've got pink eye, one of your kids, you can call up and they can triage it over the phone or a video chat. They can then call a prescription into your pharmacy. And I bet start to finish, it's probably a 45-minute endeavor, where if you went to urgent care, man, that's probably a couple hours. And you probably leave sicker than when you walked in, because that's where all the people that don't feel well go to. So it's been a great program. It has definitely paid for itself. And I think your members have seen tremendous value in it. Any questions on HealthJoy? All right, last slide here. We're sitting here in August. We've got the stop loss renewal. We've got everything out to market. We should get the dental renewal probably sometime early September. And I think, when we come back, I think, what you'll see from us is that stop loss isn't locked in yet. All the carriers are going to need to see August claims, which will be available kind of like where it was this week. It was, kind of that mid-month. So we'll have that, and then that will be then, looked at by their underwriters, and then we'll have firm stop loss probably that third week of September. And then from there, we come back and, sit down with you folks and kind of go through with recommendations. And if we make any plan design changes, again, just going to come back and kind of lay everything out when everything's firm and finalized. And then for Rachel and our team, open enrollment will be in November. And then January, we kind of finalize everything and do kind of review of all the elections. And then we get out the summary of benefits and coverage to the members. So that's kind of where we're going. So the next time you'll see me, and I don't know when the next county board is in September, if it's the 3rd.
It's the second.
It's the 2nd.
No, it's
The third-
16th. It's the 16th.
Yeah, that might be cutting it a little close.
Put you off till October.
October then? Okay.
Thanks, Tim. It was a great presentation.
Yes, thank you very much.
Does anybody have any questions, Tim? We will see him later.
Not going anywhere.
Supervisor Mosentine, you had a question? Is your mic on, Punky?
Sorry. I have questions about transplants. Is there a top layer that they're covered and then it goes beyond that?
So the transplants, the way it's set up, if, let's just say I was an employee for Barron County and I had a transplant, as soon as I go in for that transplant care, that's covered by HCC first top dollar. So it would never even hit the plan. So any claims would be paid by the transplant policy directly to the provider.
Okay, all right. The high medications, I have a grandson on a $2,100 one. He takes 3 times a week. Would that be paid?
Would that be paid? If it was through,
This problem, I know.
if it went through, if it was available through OptiMed, it could be filled through there. And then we have a formulary, so I don't know the specifics, what.
That's
drug-
all right.
But there is a formulary that lists all the medications. I don't think we're excluding any, FDA-approved drugs. They may limit the certain manufacturers if there's multiple drugs from a different class.
Kindness that there's one person for making this drug, one company,
yeah.
so they have you right there.
They do, and they have the patent for like 7 years. I think, yes, it is expensive, and, definitely that's why we've been kind of bringing these new programs to the table, because pharmacy is really where a lot of the, cost is.
You bet.
And I think, we got to kind of keep out in front of it, but yes, that is definitely on our list, and we're always trying to maximize the programs we have in place, and that's why we've been kind of doing an analysis of, all right, so who's got medications that could be filled through some of these programs, and then we're going to educate folks on what's available, and if we need to make plan design changes, Rachel and I talked last week to try to encourage more utilization or proper utilization. I always hate to change plans, but if you can change the plan and then give them an avenue where they can avoid paying more, well, that's a win-win for everybody. But sometimes you gotta give them a little nudge with the
Well,
plan
they
design.
have really good coverage here because my grandson is still working after a year and a half in Mayo, and his bill is way over millions, millions and millions of dollars. But I was told by the medical staff up there that if you don't have a certain kind of coverage in your insurance, they won't even do it.
Mm.
I mean, I don't,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
my grandson's insurance was definitely not going to pay this.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's,
Supervisor Banks, you have a question?
The federal government, I believe, now has the right to negotiate for medications. Obviously, they might get a better deal or a better price. What's the impact of that to our insurance here?
yeah, I mean, you know, they're negotiating on behalf of Medicare. And, you know, that really won't hit the commercial population, which we are obviously as an employer-sponsored health plan. Yeah, I'd love to see it if they could expand it to our, you know, to cover, you know, private businesses or public sector businesses. But I haven't seen that that's going to happen in the near future. I was kind of hoping maybe somebody in Madison would try to run with that because, you know, obviously we're all struggling with prescription drugs. And, you know, if you've got the buying power of, you know, all 50 states or even your own state, you know, maybe there's something that can be done. But I just haven't seen that happen yet.
Thank you, Tim.
Yep, thank you.
Item number 11, the zoning ordinance amendments. Could I get a motion to approve that, please? Motion by Supervisor Cook, second by Supervisor Rogers. Is there any concerns or questions on that rezoning? Seeing none, let's vote. On who? Punky, I think we're waiting on you. All right, it passed 27 yes, 2 absent. Thank you. Item number 12 was pulled. Item number 13, a resolution to define work week period for communications officers. I believe everybody had a copy of that on their desk. Does anybody with the update? Yeah. Does anybody have any questions on that? If not, could I get a motion to approve that? A motion by Supervisor Moen, seconded by Supervisor Bob Anderson. Any questions?
So the chain, did this come through,
Came through law enforcement?
right, are they in the union?
No.
Okay, never mind.
Any other questions? Seeing none, let's vote. $27 yes and 2 absent, so that passed. Thank you. Item number 14, and this will require a 3/4 vote, which means there has to be 22 of the 29 supervisors voting for it. It's a resolution to the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands State Trust Fund loan for the Barron County Waste Energy for industrial shredder and material handler. As you remember, last month we voted to purchase that material handler and the shredder, and this, so we applied with the State Trust Fund, and this is now the resolution, formal resolution that we would need to approve in order to borrow that money. Motion by Supervisor Hanson, second by Supervisor Banks. Is there any questions? Supervisor Vaughn? I don't see anybody. Okay,
Okay,
no. Who's up? Jamie?
yes.
Okay, Supervisor McCready.
Because I was not here last time, I presume with this waste energy that there will be some reimbursement from the public for when they bring in goods to utilize these services that Barron County will offer. offer?
The quick answer is yes. It's a whole new revenue stream that Brent Bond and his team out there at Waste Energy do a phenomenal job.
Yep.
He's very conservative. They've got the revenue stream that designated for this, and they feel it will be utilized a lot more than just that.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Supervisor Bob Anderson.
I was just curious, once, since the money will be approved now, how soon can we get this up and running? How soon would it be here and kind of get going?
Brent, you want to come up to the podium and let them know?
I just received word today from Arkland, a letter of intent from them that, on the signed letter from them that states that they want this waste to come to us. So we have that assurance. I also received word today that Republic Services in Arkland was able to hammer out a contract, and it's signed now and good to go. So it looks like we'd be able to, if I place the order for the shredder sometime this week, we would be able to have it in about 3 weeks from now. And we'd be able to start using it. The material handler is somewhat of a custom design. It's looking like that'd probably be sometime in January or February of this coming year.
But you'd still be able to use that, using other equipment that you have available just to load it and so forth?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Vaughn, did you have a question?
So I want to make sure I understand this. On page 22 of the packet, it sounds like this 1.5 million is going to directly to levy. So it's all going to come from levy. So I think last time we said that the waste stream would pay for this. So is the money that we're going to be making from it going back to the levy to offset that?
I believe the short
Yeah,
answer for
so
that is
the
yes.
waste energy, the bottom line is the waste energy is paying for the whole thing. The general fund is not. They may be advancing funds, the general fund, but they will be repaid back. Is that right, Jeff?
I think we should give a detailed answer because
Okay.
I was misquoted in the paper and I never even spoke. That's interesting. There are two types of loans, generally speaking, that you get from the state trust fund. There are other types, but they're very rare. One is a revenue supported or a revenue bond stream to support debt. That is not what we're asking for. We're asking for a general obligation debt. So the answer is yes, it will increase our debt service levy, but the year following the year of the levy, they are going to be paying us back. So there'll be a 1-year time frame. So our debt service levy for 2025 will go up when we make the principal and interest payments on this loan. Beginning in 2026 with the revenue stream plus with what's going on at the acid gas removal system, both of those loans are state trust fund loans that are general obligation. They should be reimbursing the debt service fund. That's the semi-short, semi-long answer.
So that will go to directly reduce the levy the following year?
Yes, but it'll be the year following the year. So we'll have the revenue to match what we would pay to reimburse the debt service. But we don't want this to be revenue bonds because that's a whole nother leap that you have to go through.
Any other questions? Seeing none, let's vote. That passed with 3/4 of the full membership with 27 yes and 2 absent. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Brent. Item number 15, an ordinance authorizing the county treasurer to enter real estate property to determine the nature and extent of the environmental pollution. Motion by Supervisor Hanson, seconded by Supervisor Moen. Anybody have any questions on that? Supervisor Vaughn.
I'm just curious why it would be the treasurer doing this? It doesn't.
John.
Okay, so this relates to tax deed property. This is property that that we would foreclose on for delinquent taxes. And so in this particular case, we're talking about the Broughton property in the city of Rice Lake. And Dave Armstrong is in the process of getting a grant so we can do some additional exploration to find out the extent of the contamination so that we can apply for other federal cleanup monies. So in order to get the grant, we have to have authorization to enter the property. Well, we haven't actually taken that property yet. So what I did is I applied for a special inspection warrant. And because the treasurer is the person that is in charge of the tax deed property, the foreclosure properties, I put her in there. We don't have an ordinance specifically designating her as the person that has the ability to do it. The statutes refer to the county generally. So this is an effort to have her as designated as our individual authorized by this board to enter onto the property, also giving her authority to enter into contracts with engineers or other folks, consultants, to exercise that for her. And so, you know, this is, we're doing this specifically for the Broughton property, but in the future, if there's other environmentally damaged or contaminated properties, she would have that ability without having to have this lag in order to get that authorization. So that's why it's her.
This has slowed down this project quite a bit just to get this accomplished. Supervisor Cook.
So does this only pertain to properties in which we have not taken back?
Well, if we've taken the property, we have the authority to go on and do it. It's this specific one, we've not taken tax deed on it, we've not foreclosed on it, because we want to know what we're getting before we do that. So yes, to answer your question,
And
yes.
so it says to the extent of environmental pollution, she's trained in that?
No, we're going to be contracting with Cooper Engineering to do that. And then that's what the grant that we're seeking will pay for them to do it. But before we can get the grant, we've got to be able to authorize Cooper to go on there, and that's what this is going to do. And with this, armed with this resolution or this ordinance, we can ask the judge to sign the special inspection warrant to allow her and Cooper to go on to the property to do that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Not, let's vote on the ordinance.
I don't have a vote.
$26 yes, 1 abstention, and 2 absent. Okay, so that ordinance was passed. Item number 16, progress and financial update on the Barron County Highway Facilities Project. That basically, we've deferred that next meeting to close this out, just like we've deferred the one on the kitchen. They're just about all finished. The highway has right now a surplus of $262,000, but that doesn't include the data controls, which could consume a larger part of that. I know Lance is kind of working on that too. And there is some other things that are part of that overall 262 that we've got another 241,000 sitting there for extra equipment that I don't think we're going to have. So I think we're going to cross the finish line with the encumbrances we've had. So does anybody have any questions on that? Supervisor Cook.
So this equipment, this $41,000, are we just delaying that purchase so that we have margin to cover it? Or is this equipment we're not going to buy that was originally scheduled to be purchased?
I think it's original equipment that we're probably not going to buy that was part of maybe a flawed budget to start with. So,
That's good.
any other questions? Seeing none, we'll go on to 17, the American Rescue Plan Act expenditures for ARPA. Jody had a sheet in there. We've got available $1,233,000, and we don't have a use for that yet, but I'm sure we will. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, item number 18, report from the county administrator.
I only have 2 things. I haven't received any questions, so I'll be very brief. Tyler continues to work on the roller dam gate repairs, and then I authorized the out-of-state travel. It's cheaper to travel for Mr. Carroll to travel to Ohio for the training than have them come here. So any questions for me? Okay, appointments. On item, all my appointments are there. I'd like you to appoint them. On item 19F, the supervisors who have been interested in order, How they've either contacted Chair Oki or myself is Chair Oki, number one, Supervisor Turcott, Supervisor Olson, Supervisor Patty Anderson, Supervisor Audrey Kuslik. Those would be the 5. We are scheduling the meeting for next Monday, the 26th, 1 p.m. And we've got meetings scheduled out every other Monday except for one Tuesday. I believe it's 9/17 would be the only Tuesday now until February. So that would be the heavy lift for this committee.
And when is the tour going to be on the 17th of September?
We'll talk about that when we get together. We'll schedule
all
a
right.
tour.
Yeah, so the people who are on the committee, we are going to be touring the property, so.
Expect the agenda for that to come out probably Wednesday for that meeting. We'll be meeting in 2151. Hopefully it'll be a Teams meeting with Salvation Army and Cedar Corp. We'll try to have all those meetings in 2151, or you can call in if you want to. Because I said right out, these are all going to be virtual because we're bringing in the county people, the Salvation Army people from Wauwatosa, and I believe maybe sometimes from Chicago. I believe Ken alluded to the fact that they report to Chicago. And then Cedar Corp and ROM, I think, is the construction people are out of New Richmond. So we're trying to get all these people in the room. That's, so we're going to do it virtually.
Okay, could I get a motion to approve those appointments?
All of the appointments.
All of the appointments,
Come to
A through F.
2151, we'll get you this started.
You see it yet?
Motion by Supervisor Efforts, seconded by Supervisor Bob Anderson. Does anybody have any problems with the appointments? Not, let's vote. Passed, 27 yes and 2 absent. Thank you. Number 20, claims, petitions, and correspondence.
Nope.
None, all right. 21, suggestions for the future agenda items. Jeff's got them laid out there on the agenda. Item number 22.
Having toured the campus tonight, I mean, there's just a lot. I know the property committee's got a lot going on. And before we get too far down the road, I'm not trying to get in front of the property committee, but I think there's a lot of discussion to be had by 29 folks as to, where we go with that.
Well, I did schedule out the agenda for executive, and I scheduled out the budget, and then these individual capital projects as one topic at a time to at least have the executive discuss it too.
Okay.
Okay, and property will meet the day, property meets
The 9th.
on the 9th. So yeah, that's going to be a little backwards, but we'll have to handle it that way.
Okay.
Because executive meets on the 4th, property meets on the 9th, so we won't have what property recommends, but we already know it's $2,669,000 to fix the HVAC, and that's without any contingency.
All right. All right, somebody do want to go into closed session. Carolyn, do you want to handle that? Yes, please. Or do you want to?
I can read
didn't
it,
make the
Karen.
motion. Okay, I'll read it. The county board will go into closed session pursuant to section 19.851E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating purpose of public properties, investing public funds, other specific business, or whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. And I will
It's been a
begin.
motion by Supervisor Bartlett and a second by Supervisor Fowler. So let's
We're going
go.
to need to have Lance, myself, Tim Deaton, and John, and Rachel in the room.
Okay. And can we just vote on the screen?
We need a vote.
Yes. So now we need to vote to go into closed session.
Thank you.
Punky, I think we're waiting on you.
Jeff, you'll take minutes from
27 yes and 2 absent, so we're now So by unanimous consent, we'll adjourn at 8:40. Thanks, everybody.